Then you put the outgoing chain over the TheChainHelper Gypsy. You can adjust the loop to whatever suits you. What's important is that there is some weight on both sides of this Gypsy. If the weight is too low, you could get some jumping, but with a little bit of weight or chain length, it's not a problem. So then you can just reel up the winch, and we will see how it performs. And that looked to be working pretty well. So that's it, and that's how you put on the TheChainHelper device. Okay, and welcome on board this Hanse 400. It got this typical chain locker problem where the chain exits the winch too low in the anchor locker and far away from where it's supposed to be. So I'm going to show some possible installation methods for the kit that I have made, and we will try to see if we can get it installed. Here we have the variety of brackets. We got this 2 left and right brackets, and we have the center hinge, and we have this universal stainless steel bracket. We have the gypsy, and we also have 2 plastic caps that are gonna lock the gypsy in place after it's mounted. What I will start off with is to try to figure out a possible solution. There are a number of ways to do it, and none of them are more correct than the other. But what we want is a clean installation where we will be able to take the TheChainHelper on and off. So I will start with just taking the axle pipe, taking the gypsy, put it together, and see where I can place it. Ideally, like in the setup of the test video from Ulf, we would put it somewhere around here. In this position, I will choose the right hand bracket, and it would be the same as in the test video. And of course, this bracket. Yeah. But as we can see here, there is not really much room beside the winch to mount it this way. So that's not a possible solution. Well, what we can do, we can either just turn this one around and put it in from the other side and see if that will work. And we put it down like this. And you see, that will theoretically work. But now there's not enough room to actually get it off when we need to take it off. So that's not possible either. Well, if we use the other bracket instead, the left bracket, we get a number of different possibilities. First of all, we could probably put it somewhere like this, with this setup, if there was enough plate on this side of the winch to mount it here. We could maybe mount it all the way back, but it's not gonna make us, with the standard 60 centimeter pipe, reach where we want the chain to be. So that's not really possible either. And also, if you have a configuration where you need to put it on this side of the winch, there are a couple of things that you need to remember. First of all, you can still be using the right hand bracket to come as close to the winch as possible. And you can also turn the 90-degree multi-bracket around and make different configurations with it. That might have been possible in this configuration, but the pipe would still be too short. So Then we will move to the straight bracket hinge instead. Put that on and we can see what we can do with that. My initial idea was maybe we could have put it forward here. That could be possible. We could just manipulate this 90 degree a little bit, which everybody can do in their boat with the simple tools, and make the pipe line up with the chain. But here it would make this pipe a little short, and also it would affect the capability of taking it off. You would have to slacken out the chain to take it off, which is not that practical, but would work in many situations. Another option, which is also a pretty good option on many boats, will be to just ditch this 90 degree bracket all the way and just use this bolt. Then you can drill a hole like here, and you could have this pin attached here. That way you would get something like this, and you could of course shorten in the pipe. So that's a good option as well, and you will also have a nice stainless steel bracket for something else. What we opted for in this config, both to not drill anywhere else and also that we wanted to have this close to the winch, was to try to move the bracket down underneath the winch to see how that works. And actually that worked pretty well in this configuration, because here there is plenty of room on the plate that the winch sits on, and it's thick aluminum, so it's a really nice plate to mount this multi-bracket on. What I then do is that I just loosely attach it so I can swivel this locking pin in any position. I put it onto the straight bracket, and then we'll test if we actually are able to get a position to release it. And here there should be enough height and enough width to pull it off. So this will work quite nice. And also here we are going to be using the whole 60 centimeter of the pipe, so we're not going to be cutting this pipe. For drilling holes, I really recommend that we drill one hole at a time. You find the position you want it in. Like here we have already pre-drilled the holes, but find the position where you want to have it, drill one hole, put a bolt in, then drill the other hole. That way you make sure that both holes line up. So I'm gonna be attaching this bracket. So then the bracket is attached with one bolt, which I have tightened up. I'm gonna be snugging up the other one as well, but you don't want to make them too tight at this stage of the assembly, because there's gonna be some fine adjustments. Just to make sure that the bolts are loose enough so you can actually twist the bracket a little bit. And then we will take this assembly and we will put it on and figure out where this release position pin is going to be. So in this installation You can see that we have a little bit of tight space here, but it should be possible to lift it like this and then pull it off. So I will just hold it in the position where you want to release it, and then you take a 13mm and tighten up the M8 bolt, which actually holds the hinge pin. And then double check that it's possible to take it off. And that should be it. Now you can take your chain, lay it over, just to see that your configuration is actually going to work and that everything worked out the way you thought it would do. If not, this is the time to adjust. Also, this is the time to adjust if you want to change the length of the pipe. If you would have this gypsy closer, you would need to cut this. The way to do that is to measure how far you want it in. So for this example, we want to cut off maybe the length of this. We'll lay that there. I'll see, okay, the gypsy will sit pretty nice here. Then we take this whole thing off, take the gypsy off, take a marker, mark the pipe outside the bracket, and see how far in it sits, and then you mark how much you want to cut, and then you just cut it. And also make sure that it's all the way seated, which it weren't in this case, I can see. But that's the way to cut the pipe, and always measure twice and cut once, because there's only one pipe in the kit. When you have done that, it's time to assemble or put on this ring, which is supposed to sit on the inside of the gypsy. It can be a little tight, so I will see if I can actually manage to get it on. What is an advantage is to take a file and actually file the end a little bit, just to make sure that it doesn't have a sharp edge. Makes it a little easier to go on. Like that. And just be careful, because the pipe can be a little sharp. Put it towards a hard surface and you can squeeze this ring on. And maybe something like that. We'll just test it and see. Not far off. I will actually just move it a little bit further. And look at that, pretty good. And we can see this pipe is parallel to the chain, and also this pipe that's protruding here we will cut off. We have already cut this one, so this one is cut, and we have put the end cap on. The end cap just squeezes on the same way as the inner one and is very tight. That's why there is 2 sets of these in the kit, in case you have any problems sometimes and you need to take it off. You have a new one to put on in case the one you take off breaks. So now once again I double check that my release point and everything is correct, and it do look like this is gonna work, I'll take my 13mm and again just tighten this up. Make sure that it is possible to take this off. Ideally, when you have set the final position and are happy, put some Loctite onto the M8 bolt just to make sure that it doesn't loosen up. And that is it. Now we can take the chain and put it over, and you can do a test to see if it works. Then you put the outgoing chain over the TheChainHelper Gypsy. You can adjust the loop to whatever suits you. What's important is that there is some weight on both sides of this Gypsy. If the weight is too low, you could get some jumping, but with a little bit of weight or chain length, it's not a problem. So then you can just reel up the winch, and we will see how it performs. And that looked to be working pretty well. So that's it, and that's how you put on the TheChainHelper device.